was a wonderful man. He stood outside of the picture show greeting everybody. The funny thing about Papa was he always had a cigar. He never smoked it, he just chewed it. And he'd stand outside, and as everybody would come by, everybody knew him because he was the theater man.
My name is Beck Queen. I am the general manager of the AMC Classic Milledgeville 6 Theater in Milledgeville, Georgia. So there's a random plaque in the building. It's dead center in the middle of the hallways. And when I started here many moons ago, everybody always wondered who that was, why we have a random plaque on the wall that nobody knows anything about. And it's kind of just been like an itch at the back of my neck that I've wanted to know.
He was here, he first started off born in Fitzgerald, I think. Then spent some time in Americus, and a funny story there, he had to scold Jimmy Carter for trying to kiss on the back row of the theater with his wife, because I'm sure it was his girlfriend at that time. But then they moved back to Milledgeville, and he ran this theater for, I think 60-something years. And we also had another theater down the street, which was called the Co-Ed.
We were going through each auditorium, cleaning them out, found some old employee files that had to be destroyed because it had been several decades since they had been looked at. We didn't even know they were there. And in going through with that, the name Nathan Morgan kept popping up. And so we were like, hey, that's the guy on the plaque.
The one thing I can remember in this brief discussion years ago about Mr. Morgan was that he was a short, always fastidiously dressed guy that everybody that ever went there to the theater remembers vividly, either downtown or when they moved in his later years out to the mall. And because he was with Martin Cinemas, and he made that transition.
When he worked there, he was like the main, he would sell tickets just like any other employee. He would clean up popcorn just like anybody else. And eventually he became a manager and was responsible for doing all types of managerial duties. Back then, projectors were very flammable and not consistent. So he had to be up there all the time in booth, making sure that the movies played, people were happy, people weren't getting in trouble, that type of thing.
Well, I mean, really and truly, he was all about the theater. Another funny thing was when they came out with the Sugar Daddies, which was the big piece of candy on a stick, he'd find them all in the floor where people couldn't eat the whole thing. But then they came out with the Sugar Babies, which were the little bitty ones, and what people would do is they would get a Coca-Cola and a straw, and they would put the Sugar Babies in the Coke for a while and get them hard as a BB, and then they would shoot them at the screen. So I think he had to repair the screen several times.
When I'm talking to groups, because this is something we do pretty regularly in special collections, I ask them if they remember the people that were important to them early in their life. It's amazing how many can't remember folks outside of their immediate family. These people do have an impact, and all of them have an impact, whether they are working as a janitor at the movie theater or whether they are, president of the college. Like, these folks all have a story, and they have a story outside of their job. There's a family, there's hobbies that they're doing. You never know.
He retired once they did the Cinemax, the 6 out at the mall. He retired, but I think he was working just about till the day he died.
We want to be able to tell the story of Milledgeville, and we know that there are so many people in the area over its history that have done so many cool things, and we have nothing on them. And that's the nature of what people want to give us.
What really sucks is that everybody's forgotten about him. The plaque is not significant anymore. It's not in history. It's in a library where you could go look for it, but you don't know anything about it. And of course, course, now the building is an AMC, which is even more historical context that people don't really know about unless you've lived here for some time.